The mountains were deathly quiet, except for the echo of gunfire. SEAL team was trapped, pinned by unseen shooters in terrain that even drones couldn't map. Command said hold position. But one voice in the radio, a voice they hadn't heard in years, whispered back, "Negative, command. I've got them in my scope." And in the next minute the impossible happened. The valley was supposed to be quiet, a simple reconnaissance mission and mark the coordinates, and out before dawn. But nothing about the Hindu Kush ever stayed quiet for long. The SEAL team of 6 moved through the jagged rocks under moonlight, boots whispering against dust. Their leader, LT Mason Cole, scanned the ridgeline through night vision. Nothing, no movement, no heat signatures. "Area's cold," Cole whispered. "Let's move." The radio crackled softly. "Copy that," said Alvarez. "There comes tech. Drone feed still dark. Must be the storm interference." That's when they heard it, a single, sharp echo that didn't belong to the wind. Then another. The third sound wasn't a question anymore. It was the unmistakable snap of a bullet breaking the sound barrier. "Contact, contact front," shouted Ramirez, diving for cover. The valley erupted into chaos, muzzle flashes lighting up the cliffs, tracer fire slicing through the dark like red lightning. Cole ducked behind a rock, pulling his rifle tight. "We're surrounded. Find cover." Alvarez tried to get the comms back online. "Signal jammed. They're blocking us out." "Who the hell is out here?" growled Mason, firing back toward the ridge. The terrain was working against them, high cliffs, perfect sniper nests. No visual on the shooters. Within seconds, their position was pinned down. Ramirez, status pinned near the outcrop, sir. 2 down, Jenkins and Ford. Cole's jaw tightened. "Hold position. We're not losing anyone else." He tried to raise command. Static, nothing but dead air. They were cut off. Bullets sparked off the rocks around him, chipping stone and kicking dust into the air. Mason's rifle barrel overheated from constant bursts. He slammed in another mag and peeked over the ridge, only to see a flash of glass reflect in the moonlight sniper scope. He ducked just before the round tore through where his head had been, sir. Alvarez shouted, eyes wide as his radio finally flickered with life. "Commands on frequency, patching through now." A cold voice came through the static. "SEAL Team 9, this is Overwatch. You're surrounded by enemy fire. Do not engage. Hold position until we extract you. Repeat, do not engage." Cole looked at the ridgeline, at the glints of enemy optics closing in like vultures. "That'll be too late," he muttered. Ramirez's voice came through, breath ragged. "Sir, we're boxed in. They're moving fast. Can't hold this ridge another 5 minutes." Cole hesitated, then spoke into the comm. "Overwatch, we'll be dead in 2. Where's the support bird?" Static. Then a long, eerie silence. And then another voice cut through, calm/low, familiar in a way that made Mason's blood run cold. "You're not alone. 9." Everyone froze. Alvarez frowned. "Who the hell?" "Call sign Reaper 0 targeting your north ridge." Cole's eyes widened. That call sign hadn't been used in years, not since the day Sergeant Wyatt Kane, the best sniper the SEALs ever had, vanished during a covert mission in the same mountains. Officially, he was Kia. Body never recovered. Cole swallowed hard. "Reaper 0, say again your location." "Above you," the voice said. "And they won't be for long." Before Mason could respond, a thunderous crack echoed from somewhere deep in the cliffs. One of the enemy shooters dropped instantly, a clean, impossible shot through the storm haze. A second shot followed, then a third, each one precise, each one lethal. The firing around the SEALs began to falter. Confusion rippled through the enemy lines. Cole stared up at the ridgeline, rain cutting through the smoke. "That can't be him," he muttered, but inside, he already knew. Some ghosts don't stay buried. The valley was deathly quiet. Just minutes earlier, it had been chaos, mortar, tracer rounds, the guttural thunder of machine guns echoing through the rocks. Now only smoke drifted across the sand. Lieutenant Cross crouched behind a broken vehicle, headset pressed tight to his ear. "Command, this is Bravo team," he hissed. "We're surrounded, enemy flanking from the east and north. We're running out of ammo." Static. Then a voice, not from command, not from any channel Cross recognized. It was faint, cracked, and unmistakably calm. "Bravo team, this is Reaper 0. Mark your smoke, I've got eyes." Cross froze, his blood ran cold. Every man in his squad heard it too. They all looked at each other in disbelief. "Reaper 0, one whispered. "That's not possible. She's dead," another finished. But before Cross could respond, the first shot cracked through the air. A single bullet, perfect, surgical, dropped the enemy sniper who'd pinned them. Down for 20 minutes. Then another. And another. Each one precise. Each one saving a man's life before he even knew he was in danger. Cross stared through the smoke. Up on the ridge, through the shimmer of heat and dust, a faint glint of glass. A scope. "Reaper 0, online." The channel went silent again. Minutes later, reinforcements arrived. The SEALs were pulled out, battered but alive. Cross couldn't stop replaying that voice in his head. Back at base, he stormed into the operations tent. "Who the hell was on my frequency?" The comms officer frowned, typing furiously. "No active sniper teams in your grid, sir. Frequency shows as inactive for 2 years. Cross repeated. Yeah, belonged. Lieutenant Kara Vance, call sign Reaper 0. Cross's hands went still. He remembered that name, the ghost who saved them months ago. The one command said didn't exist. Trace the signal, he ordered. The tech shook his head. Already tried? It's like chasing a shadow. Signal pinged once, then vanished. Cross turned toward the tent flap. Then I'll find the shadow. 3 days later, under a blood-red sunset, Cross's transport jeep rattled across the barren hills toward the coordinates he'd pieced together from the fragments of that ghost signal. The area was quiet, too quiet, no footprints, no vehicles, just wind and silence. Then he saw it. A small outpost buried under rock and camouflage netting, a sniper nest abandoned but intact. Inside a bedroll, a weathered map, and a single empty shell casing lying beside a radio headset. He picked it up. The headset was cracked, but one detail made his throat tighten. A faint engraving scratched into the side. R0. Reaper 0. Cross crouched beside the spot where the shooter must have lain, the angle perfect. The field of fire wide. Whoever was here had eyes on every inch of that battlefield. And then he saw it carved into the rock wall in small, deliberate letters. Stand down isn't in my vocabulary. He exhaled slowly, the weight of it settling on him. She wasn't dead. Not really. Just done being owned by anyone's orders. That night, back at the command center, Admiral Thorne reviewed the latest mission reports. He was older now, slower, but still sharp enough to catch details others missed. One report stopped him cold. A sniper strike log recovered from the field. Each shot time-stamped, each confirmed kill recorded. The shooter's ID code was blacked out, but at the bottom of the page, scrawled in faded pen, was a single word: ghost. He stared at it for a long time. Then he leaned back, eyes distant. Reaper 0, he whispered. You just don't know when to quit, do you? His aide entered quietly. Sir, intelligence confirms the convoy survived because of a sniper we can't identify. Same signature pattern as Helmand. Thorne nodded slowly. Let it go, sir. Erase the report. Mark it inconclusive. She's earned her silence. Weeks later, Cross and his men were stationed on a remote base in the Hindu Kush. One night, during patrol, their radio crackled again. Static, then a whisper. Eyes on you, Bravo team, stay sharp. The voice was faint, almost teasing. Cross grinned. Copy that, Reaper. Still breaking the rules. A soft laugh echoed through the static. Someone has to. Then silence. The men stared at each other, grinning, shaking their heads in disbelief. Guess the ghost's still watching. One murmured. Cross looked up at the night sky. Yeah, he said quietly, and I pity the next enemy who doesn't believe in her. Far away, in a mountain range no map claimed, Kara Vance, Reaper 0, adjusted her scope. The wind whispered over the ridge, carrying the hum of distant conflict. Her rifle rested steady, her breath slowed. The world below her was chaos again, the kind she was born for. She touched the scar on her wrist, the mark from Helmand, the mission they buried her for. She remembered the team that didn't make it, the lies command told, the orders that got them killed. She had sworn that day never to take another order from a man who'd never seen blood. Now, she worked for something purer. Not flags, not ranks. Just the lives she could still save, one bullet, one heartbeat at a time. The wind shifted. She adjusted half a degree and whispered into her mic. Reaper 0, watching, and as the trigger broke, the rifle cracked like thunder across the valley, a sound that meant one thing to every soldier who heard it. The ghost was still out there, and she was still saving them all. The mountain valley had gone eerily quiet. The SEALs crouched behind shattered rocks, dust thick in their throats, counting their remaining magazines. The radio crackled static curses, then silence again. Command had gone dark. Lieutenant Cross checked his watch. No air support, no extraction. We're cut off. He looked at his men, battle-hardened, bloodied, exhausted. Half the team was down, pinned by machine gun nests carved into the cliffs. Every time someone moved, a sniper's round snapped the air beside their heads. Whoever that is, Cross muttered. They've got God's aim. Up on a distant ridge, unseen, unheard, someone adjusted a weathered rifle. A suppressed breath, a slow exhale. The barrel didn't shake, the finger didn't tremble. Ghost watched through her scope. She'd heard every word over the open channel. The SEALs' comms weren't encrypted anymore, too much jamming. But their desperation was clear enough. She had been ordered to hold position, to observe only. Do not engage, Command had said. But Command wasn't here, bleeding in the dirt. Her eye tracked a flash, the enemy sniper's muzzle glinting for half a second from a rocky crevice. That was all she needed. She inhaled slowly, steadying the crosshairs over the faint shimmer of heat. Wind west. 14 knots range, 1,930 meters, correction, 1.3 mils high. 5 left. The trigger broke like glass, a puff of dust, then silence. Down below, the SEAL pinned by that sniper finally dared to move. What the hell? He whispered. The threat was gone. Ghost chambered another round. Her heartbeat was calm, almost detached. The next shot tore through a machine gun nest, scattering shrapnel and chaos. A third cracked moments later, an enemy commander collapsing mid-order on the SEALs channel. Confusion turned to awe. Cross, did you call an overwatch? No, he said, scanning the cliffs, and whoever it is, isn't supposed to be here. Another shot and another position fell silent. The tide shifted before anyone realized what was happening. Ghost moved methodically, crawling inches at a time to avoid detection. She wasn't supposed to intervene, but the mission had already gone to hell. Orders didn't matter when men were dying. She switched frequencies, whispering into her mic. SEAL Team Delta, this is Sierra Neen. You've got 30 seconds to move north. Follow the echo. Cross froze. Who is this? Doesn't matter. Move. And then another shot cracked. A flare exploded against the far slope. Her signal go. Cross barked. The SEALs sprinted through smoke and sand, moving where the shots fell. Every bullet from Ghost's rifle was both destruction and direction, carving them a path out of hell. By the time they reached the ridgeline, the battlefield behind them had gone still. Only distant echoes of gunfire remained. One of the SEALs, panting, looked back. Who the hell was that? Cross didn't answer. He didn't need to. On the radio, a faint voice spoke, almost drowned by static. Get them home, Lieutenant. Then silence. Ghost powered down her scope, sliding the rifle back into its case. Her position was compromised. Now the enemy would triangulate her in minutes. But it didn't matter. The SEALs were clear far below. The unit regrouped, stunned and silent. Someone muttered, "That wasn't Overwatch. That was something else." Cross nodded slowly, eyes scanning the ridge where the impossible shots had come from. "Not something," he said. "Someone." For the first time, the men began to whisper a name not given by command, but earned in fire. Ghost Sniper. The SEALs made it back to the extraction ridge just as the sun bled over the horizon. The sky burned orange, smoke curling upward from the valley below, a graveyard of craters, twisted metal, and silence. Lieutenant Cross was the last to climb aboard the evac chopper. His radio buzzed again, this time with an encrypted command channel. The voice on the other end was clipped, furious. "Lieutenant, explain who authorized that engagement." Cross hesitated. "Sir, we were surrounded. We would have been wiped out if what, Lieutenant?" Asterisk, the voice snapped. "We have no active sniper assets in your yo." He looked out the open door. The ridge where the shots had come from was already swallowed by dust. "Then someone forgot to tell you're an active sniper that," he muttered. The comms went silent. Then, another voice, deeper, colder, unmistakably higher rank. "Lieutenant Cross, this is Admiral Thorne. I want a full report on my desk within the hour. And if that ghost violated direct orders," he paused, "she'll never see a battlefield again." Cross clenched his jaw. "Understood, sir." The helicopter lifted off, wind howling through the cabin. The men sat wordless, each face marked by exhaustion and disbelief. One of them finally spoke. "She saved us. Doesn't that count for something?" Cross didn't answer. He couldn't. 100 miles away, in a half-collapsed observation post tucked into the mountains. Ghost sat cleaning her rifle. Every motion was calm, practiced. Her hands didn't shake, even though her body screamed with fatigue. She had heard the transmission to the Admiral's voice, the threat, the accusation, and she didn't care. She had seen too many men die because someone behind a desk refused to bend a rule. Today, she'd broken that cycle and command hated her for it. The door creaked. A figure stepped in her spotter. Sergeant hailed. His face was smudged with dirt and disbelief. "They're calling it unauthorized engagement," he said quietly. "You disobeyed a direct stand-down order." Ghost didn't look up. "And they're alive. That's not how they'll see it." She reassembled her rifle, locked a bolt, and finally met his eyes. "Doesn't matter how they see it. Those SEALs know the truth." Hale hesitated. "Thorne's already moving to have you grounded. Probably scrub your record." Ghost chuckled softly, a sound colder than the mountain air. "Then let him try." Hours later, back at command, Admiral Thorne paced behind his desk. His aides handed him the preliminary reports, the same ones he'd been dreading. 12. Confirmed enemy Kia. SEAL team extracted with minimal loss. And yet, the engagement had never been cleared through the chain of command. He slammed the folder shut. "Find her, sir. Find the sniper who calls herself Ghost. Bring her in." The aide swallowed. "Sir, she's not on active deployment lists." The only one matching her profile was Thorne's eyes snapped up. "Was what?" The aide hesitated, voice barely above a whisper. "Was Kia 2 years ago. Classified operation in Helmand Province." The Admiral froze. The air went still. He turned toward the window where the desert stretched endlessly under the sun. "Then who the hell just saved my SEALs?" Back in the field, Ghost packed her gear. Every movement deliberate. She slung her rifle over her shoulder and looked one last time toward the valley where the SEALs had been. "Trapped. Stand down," the order had said, but she'd never learned how. She stepped into the rising wind, her silhouette fading into the haze. To the SEALs, she was a myth. To command, a liability. But to herself, she was exactly what she needed to be, the unseen hand that refused to let heroes die forgotten. And somewhere, in the static of a forgotten radio frequency, her old call sign whispered through the noise, "Reaper, online." By the time Ghosts reached base, the world already knew her name again. Her return wasn't triumphant. No parades, no applause. Just a cold hangar, a table under a single flickering light, and 2 military police officers standing guard by the door. Her rifle, sidearm, Encom's unit was stripped away. At the far end of the room sat Admiral Thorne. Silver hair, sharp uniform, eyes that could slice through stone. A stack of files rested in front of him, sealed mission reports, all stamped with the same word, classified. He didn't look up as she entered. "Sit down, Lieutenant." She did slowly, calmly. Thorne flipped a page. "You were ordered to stand down. I heard you ignored it." "I did." He finally raised his eyes. "You're aware that disobeying direct command during live combat can result in court-martial?" Ghost leaned back, her tone even. "You're aware 12 men would be in body bags if I hadn't, sir." The air froze. Thorne closed the file with a soft thud. "You were reported Kia in Helmand 2 years ago, yet here you are alive, armed and acting under no official unit authorization. Care to explain?" Ghost's gaze didn't waver. "You buried me because it was convenient. Said the mission failed. Said I broke protocol, and did you?" He shot back, her eyes hardened. "I broke orders, not the mission." Thorne stood, pacing slowly around her. The sound of his boots echoed in the empty hangar. "You think what you did today was heroism? It wasn't. It was insubordination wrapped in luck. You're not a savior, Lieutenant. You're a liability." Ghost smiled faintly, a dangerous kind of calm. "Funny. That's what you called me last time, too, right before the enemy command post vanished from your satellite feed." Thorne stopped behind her. The tension thickened. "You're out of line, and you're out of soldiers who can do what I do." He clenched his jaw, but before he could respond, the hangar doors creaked open. A dozen SEALs walked in, dirt still on their faces, eyes still red from the desert smoke. Lieutenant Cross led them, his uniform torn but his posture firm. "Permission to speak freely." "Sir," Cross said. Thorne turned sharply. "Denied. This is a closed debrief." Cross ignored him. "That woman saved every one of us. You can call her a liability, but we call her the reason we're still breathing." The SEALs stood behind Ghost, silent but united. Thorne's face darkened. "You're out of order, Lieutenant." "No, sir," Cross said, voice steady. "We're just telling the truth, something command seems to forget when it doesn't fit the paperwork." For a long moment, no one moved. The only sound was the hum of the lights. Then Thorne finally exhaled, slow and measured. "You all think this is some kind of movie, that disobedience makes you legends." Ghost rose to her feet, facing him head-on. "No, sir. It makes us alive." Their eyes locked. Commander versus Ghost. The man who followed rules against the woman who survived by breaking them, after what felt like hours. Thorne gave a curt nod to the guards. "Get her out of my sight." As she walked past him, Ghost paused. "You can file your reports, Admiral, but one day, when you're out of men, and the Cums go dead, you'll call for the same Ghost you tried to bury." He didn't answer, but his silence said everything. Outside, under the harsh desert sun, Ghost retrieved her rifle from the evidence table. The SEALs waited near the transport truck. Cross gave her a nod. "Where will you go now?" She smirked. "Wherever the next lie needs burying." Then she walked away, boots crunching against the sand, not as a soldier, not as a myth, but as the one name even the enemy whispered with fear. Ghost. Reaper Zero. Months passed. The desert winds erased the footprints, but not the memory. Every SEAL who'd fought that day remembered the echo, the calm, cold precision of the sniper they never saw, and in war zones across 3 continents. A rumor began to spread again. There's someone out there not on the roster, not on the radio, who shows up when everyone else is dead or dying. They called her a myth, a ghost, soldier the system tried to erase but couldn't. Admiral Thorne sat in his office one night, staring at a classified dossier. His desk lamp flickered, reflecting off the empty space where a photo should have been. The field report in his hands was stamped urgent priority, black ops only. The situation was grim, an entire special forces convoy ambushed deep inside hostile territory, no air support, no backup, no survivors expected. He rubbed his temples, exhaustion etched into every line on his face. Command had already given up hope. The rescue timeline was too tight, but something about the report made him pause. Buried deep in the transmission log, just before contact was lost, was a single encrypted signal, one phrase: Reaper Zero online. His heart sank. Thorne stood up, staring at the message for a long, silent minute. He picked up the secure phone on his desk. "Get me Lieutenant Cross." Hours later, AC-130 roared through storming skies over the Middle East. Inside, Cross checked his gear while glancing at the shadow sitting across from him. Ghost wore no insignia now. Her name tag was blank, just like always. Cross broke the silence. "Didn't think I'd see you again." Ghost shrugged. "Didn't plan to be seen." He smirked. "Thorne sent for you personally." She looked up, a faint glint in her eyes. "Let's just say he ran out of ghosts to bury." The plane jolted as turbulence hit. Ghost calmly loaded a round into her rifle, the same battered weapon she'd carried the day she saved them. "Still using that antique?" Cross asked. She smiled faintly. "Still hits hearts before helmets." When they hit the ground, chaos reigned. Smoke, gunfire, screams over broken comms. Cross's team was pinned. Down again, history repeating itself, except this time, Ghost wasn't watching from the hills. She was in it. She moved through the battlefield like a shadow. One shot, one step, one breath at a time. Every bullet she fired shifted the tide. Every order she gave cut through confusion. Her voice on the comms.com, unflinching, reminded them that survival wasn't luck. It was skilled. That then came the moment. The extraction convoy surrounded. Cross's voice was frantic over the radio. "Ghost, we need a miracle." Her reply was the same as always, quiet, cold, certain. "Miracles are for those who hesitate. Keep your heads down." 3 precise shots later, the ambush broke. The SEALs surged forward, regrouped, and pulled every wounded man out alive. And when the smoke cleared, she was gone again. Later, Thorne stood on the runway as the survivors stepped off the evac transport. Cross approached him, silent, grimy, and alive. Thorne asked the question he already knew the answer to. "She was there, wasn't she?" Cross nodded. "Not for you, not for the medals, just for the men." Thorne looked out toward the dark horizon. For the first time in years, his voice softened. "Then God help the next enemy who thinks she's a ghost." Weeks later, in a classified intercept, foreign intelligence caught a strange radio ping, faint, almost like static. But to those who knew, it wasn't noise, it was a promise. Reaper Zero, watching, somewhere, high in the mountains. A single sniper round chambered with a soft metallic click, the sound of a legend refusing to die.